joined today by Judith Smale of Cumbria CVS to discuss volunteering, becoming a charity trustee, and how businesses can offer volunteering opportunities to their staff. Judith, can you start off by introducing yourself and explaining a bit about your role at Cumbria CVS?
So my name's Judith Smale and I'm the volunteering manager at Cumbria CVS. And Cumbria CVS is an infrastructure support organisation supporting third sector organisations across Cumbria. Part of my role is around volunteering and getting out there and promoting volunteering to businesses, to the general public, to students, or anyone who's interested in finding out about volunteering, and supporting a large range of different third sector organisations to recruit volunteers. And so we offer a volunteer brokerage service where we match people's interests, skills and time to local volunteering opportunities. So sometimes people don't always know kind of what the range of volunteering opportunities are or where to start, and that's where Cumbria CVS comes into it, where we have those existing links with all the range of different charities and third sector organisations, and then we help people kind of find the perfect volunteering role.
That's great, and we'll get into talk a bit more about all of that in the podcast. Can you just give a bit of background on Cumbria CVS itself? When did the charity start, and can you talk a bit more about its remit?
So Cumbria CVS, they actually merged probably around about 20 years ago now. And previously, all the different CVSs were independently. And Carlisle CVS actually set up in 1904. And the aims and the objectives of the actual charity was to kind of improve health and well-being and reduce poverty and help the local community. So the charity and the objectives of actually Cumbria CVS kind of remains the same. It's around kind of making sure our communities are strengthened and making sure that the community is supported to empower them to make a difference, but also around kind of supporting third sector organisations to be able to develop, grow, and also have a voice as well in terms of the third sector as well. Through CVS, we offer a range of different services, whether it's through recruiting volunteers, offering funding advice, providing government support to charities and trustee boards, we do training, and we also run a variety of different networks across the county, bringing different organisations together to kind of network and share good practice, and particularly anything around good practice in volunteer management. It could be through like the Action for Health Network, it could be the Third Sector Executive Network. But it's around bringing different organisations to have a voice and kind of help influence and kind of raise the voice of the third sector and make sure we kind of champion the amazing work all the different charities do, and all the kind of amazing volunteering work that happens as well across the county.
Can you talk a bit about the importance of volunteering in Cumbria, and what are the benefits of volunteering to individuals and the community and organisations?
I mean, in terms of volunteering, it's so beneficial both to the individuals themselves, but also the local community. I think on average it's around 50,000 people that volunteer within Cumbria, and it does sound like a lot of people. That it, in terms of the actual charities and their needs, it isn't actually enough. We have different organisations and charities contacting us every day and looking to get more volunteers. And I think with volunteering, I think it's, if you can find the right volunteering role, it's absolutely fantastic, because as an individual, you get to meet new people, you kind of share your skills, share your experience, widen your social networks, improve your own self-esteem, improve your confidence, that really kind of, you do actually make a difference to the lives of others or to different charities as well, obviously depending on kind of what your role is. And if it's kind of, working with people on the ground, you'll see the difference, how you actually change lives. But again, if it's strategically, for example, as a trustee, you'll support and kind of grow that charity so that longer term, that charity can then get the funding, have a business development plan, and be more sustainable for the future, so that they can then impact and make change and support even more people across Cumbria.
You touched on charity trustees there, and that's also part of the remit of Cumbria CVS. What are the benefits of being a trustee, and how does that differ to being a normal volunteer?
I mean, both being a trustee and a normal volunteer, I think they kind of had similar benefits. I think of being a trustee, if anyone, especially from the business world or the business community, who may have some set skills base, it could be anything from law, HR, marketing, finance, digital, all these skills really could benefit a local charities being a trustee. And a trustee is someone who sits on the board of trustees. They offer strategic direction to the overall governance support to an organisation. And they're there to kind of like support business planning and to guide the organisation through change or whatever they're focused on in the future, whether it's new premises, new projects, new funding streams, etc. But as trustees, I think you often in your day-to-day job, you have a lot of transferable skills and that could be transferred to help govern and support an organisation as well. So people that have got skills in around like HR or law, charities need that kind of support and that advice, and especially someone who's perhaps independent from the charity who kind of can come in and offer kind of questions or support or that additional information and guidance that often trustee boards need. And I think it's really important for trustees to have a diverse mix of people coming forward. So if it's younger people that perhaps just graduated from university, to some people that have perhaps been in the business world for 30 or 40 years, each person brings different skills and different experiences and different viewpoints to kind of help grow charities as well. And I think being a trustee, you get to meet a whole different walk of people from different lives and different backgrounds, and that's kind of what makes a good, strong trustee board. But at the same time, I think as a trustee, you're kind of there to kind of support the aims and objectives of the charity so that it can then grow and it can then move forward through the support of trustees as well. And I think as trustees, I think it's one of those roles where it varies between organisations. Some meet, bi-monthly, some meet kind of 4 times a year, or there's some quick meetings once a month. But it's a few hours each month. And lots of trustee meetings, sometimes either in the evenings or I think especially after COVID, some have moved online. So it gives that more flexibility to work around if people are working and think, oh, I don't know if I've got enough time to do that. It gives people that flexibility to think, actually, I could offer 2 or 3 hours a month to a local charity as a trustee and offer my kind of expertise and whatever that may be. It could be property, marketing, or finance, as well as a need for more treasurers or people with financial skills and secretaries and people to chair different organisations and key skills that you probably do every day in your normal day-to-day work, which could then be transferred to the role of the trustee as well.
So if you're sitting there thinking that sounds quite good, I'd like to become a trustee or a volunteer, Cumbria CVS have just launched a new website, which is a software that matches people's skills with appropriate volunteering opportunities. Can you talk a bit more about that, Judith, please?
Yeah, so we just launched a new volunteering in Cumbria portal. So it's basically a new volunteering opportunities database for Cumbria. So if anyone is interested in volunteering, whether it's general volunteering or becoming a trustee, and it's a portal where you can go online, you can search for local volunteering opportunities based upon where you live, what your skills are, and how far you want to travel, and kind of what your areas of interest are. So say if it was being a trustee, you type in trustee, where you live. So say, for example, you live in Kendal and you want to travel no more than 20 miles, it'll then come up with a range of organisations that need trustees within that area. And likewise, it does that for general volunteering opportunities as well. And so organisations that need volunteers have self-registered what they need and what their desires are. So all the different roles that different charities need, such as could be carer support or citizens advice or company family support or different youth charities and Cumbria Wildlife Trust, all these kind of different charities. that need, whether it's general volunteers or trustees, have registered what their needs are on this volunteering opportunities database, so that volunteers can go online, can do that kind of informal searching, explore the database, and if they see something they like, they can then actually apply it directly to the organisation. So the database overall is managed through Cumbria CVS when people do register as a volunteer. We are keen still to kind of support people through that journey. So when people do register, they will get a telephone call from Cumbria CVS, and they'll be offered appointments or like a video call, and further support as well, just to kind of make sure that they get as much support as they need to get into volunteering. But often, people just like to know what's out there before they commit. So I would say if anyone has got some spare time and they are curious about kind of what the different range of volunteering opportunities are for themselves or for their employees, colleagues, families or friends, just visit volunteering.cumbriacvs.org.uk, and it's where you can find out about local volunteering opportunities within Cumbria as well.
Yeah, that's a really great resource there. Thank you, Judith. Another kind of strain of your activity at CVS is employer-supported volunteering. Can you talk a bit about that, please, and give us some examples?
Yeah. So Cumbria CVS, obviously we promote general volunteering. We're also trying to work with businesses around encouraging employer-supported volunteering. So different companies you generally find throughout Cumbria, and they offer 2 days volunteering time for their staff or their employees to go out volunteering. So that could be individually. So obviously that's where Cumbria CVS comes into it. So if there are any employers out there thinking, the corporate social, value manager, and part of my remit is trying to encourage my employees to start thinking about volunteering or kind of get involved, then Cumbria CVS can support individuals on a one-to-one basis to do that. But it's also about, sometimes companies want to do kind of team challenges or to a team employer-supported volunteering project. So Cumbria CVS can be utilised through trying to find existing projects where different third sector organisations or community groups do need the support of potential employees or the group of employees to come in and make a difference for the day. So Cumbria CVS can offer that kind of brokerage service between the employer and then the third sector organisation. So we get different employers coming to us saying, I've got 4 staff, I've got 10 staff, I've got 12 staff looking to do a volunteering project. And it could be, over the summer period or over the autumn. They'll say kind of the types of activities that they would like to do, or the kind of skills that they've got to offer. And then at CVS, what we do is then kind of reach out to our third sector organisations to find potential projects for the employer, so that their employees can get involved, because we've already got those existing relationships where we can contact the charities and find out, can we utilise these employees. So recently I just done some work with WCF and Eden Valley Hospice. So WCF made contact, and it was actually the executive team that wanted to actually volunteer, because they felt it was really important for kind of a management committee level, a managing director level, where they wanted to kind of show the staff that, if they can do it and they can take some time out of their day to go and volunteer a local charity, then other employees could also do that. So they're kind of obviously trying to kind of lead by example. So we found a project through Eden Valley Hospice. So they went along to kind of do some painting in terms of the outside garden area on the pergola. And so they did a day's painting, great team opportunity, a chance to kind of really do some team building together as well, and really make a difference to the gardens at the hospice, because the gardens actually overlook the bedrooms where the patients are staying, and obviously they're standing there visiting, and looking out onto the garden, it just made such a difference, and it brightened up that outdoor space. But I think building on those kind of relationships, obviously CVS kind of helped to look at that potential volunteering project, the WCF, but then in turn, through communication with the hospice, they actually donated some bird seeds, because obviously they kind of, they have, various pet shops, etc. So they're going to continue that relationship with the hospice and offer bird seeds to the hospice. And again, when birds come into the garden, families just need some time out. Want to sit on the bench and have a cup of tea. They've got beautiful gardens now. And, bird seeds donated by a local company that really helps the kind of, the charity to support patients and their families as well. We did some work as well with Volker Rail. And again, it's a similar, idea where Volker Rail made contact with Cumbria CVS and they needed an employer-supported volunteering project that their staff could get involved with. So they did some work with Newdale Community Centre, and they revamped a butterfly garden. They created a mud kitchen and a sensory space for children, and created a bug hotel that had a real good day of kind of like clearing out the outdoor space and some like trees that are actually making some kind of essentially garden where children can actually come back and utilise it and kind of learn about the outdoor spaces as well, really. And again, they've continued to keep up that relationship as well. And it's about, partners working together as well, because obviously different companies come together. So with Volker Rail, we're also supported by Sundark Rentals and Eco Efficiency as well on the day. And, things like skips and things like that, where companies can have access to things like that it's all part of the employer-supported volunteering project day. And, sometimes the equipment and the tools are needed. And often companies, they've got them at the tip of the hand. And again, that's how kind of different businesses and different supply chains can work together to really make an impact on local charities. But we also hope it makes an impact on the employees themselves as volunteers. Through volunteering, people get so much out of it. They gain so much kind of self-worth, and they can really see how their time and their skills have made a difference to a local charity or a local community. And we hope, for employees fighting volunteering, if it's a one day where they go and make a difference to a charity, we hope it gives them that taster about how fantastic volunteering is, so that they can go out and do it again, and they might do it for a different charity or continue to support the same charity. And the more people that do a little bit of volunteering, if it's once a month, a one-off, that can then obviously make a huge impact on the third sector within Cumbria as well.
Thanks, Judith. Those are really brilliant examples there of businesses who have given back by volunteering. Just a couple of points to finish on. If a business comes to Cumbria CVS and wants support to offer employer-supported volunteering, how can you help? And then as well, can you talk about the employer-supported volunteering subgroup as well, and how businesses can get involved in that?
Yeah. So if an employer makes contact with Cumbria CVS, we meet with them to try and establish what exactly they are looking for in terms of an actual project. So that could be, geographical location, what skills or expertise that their employees have got that they would like to offer a charity, when they need to do it. We also establishing around kind of what resources have they got. So sometimes it could just be like, the employee volunteers, but sometimes they are able to offer like equipment and tools to actually support the actual project. And again, it's dependent on kind of what that company wants as well, really. So we need to then try and establish kind of what kind of their requirements are from the company and what they want for their employee volunteers to get out of it. And then from that, I then do that kind of volunteer brokerage service where I will then make contact with the organisations in that geographical area. And again, it's depending on kind of what they want to do. So recently, I had a company that wanted to do outdoor and then kind of environmental kind of work. So I kind of pinpointed all the different charities that Cumbria CVS has already got those existing links with, to see if the employees could get involved, so that I can then come back to the employer with a range of potential volunteering opportunities, so they can kind of have that choice and have that range of opportunities, which they can then share with their staff, so that the staff kind of have that input about actually, we really like to go and support that charity, or we really support the aims and objectives of that charity, we really want to support the youth, or we want to support environmental groups, or we want to support older people or disabled people. And then obviously after that, we can then make that initial instruction between the company and then the actual charity itself as well, really. But we can also advise around things around what's kind of, when you are involved in volunteers, about what else is needed. So it could be things around insurance, it could be things around risk assessment, it could be things around kind of publicity and PR as well, really, because the more companies that do it, the more charities that do it, the more we can raise the profile of volunteering and encourage more employers to kind of get involved and to get thinking about how can we encourage our staff to become volunteers, what's out there, what support, and that's kind of where Cumbria CVS comes into it, where we can kind of offer that support. What I've found is kind of over like the last kind of 2 years is different employers automatically kind of just make contact with Cumbria CVS, and there's been a need from volunteer managers in Cumbria as well, because they've got a keen interest around growing employer-supported volunteering as well. So they want to learn about how they can engage more companies or how they can build those relationships and key networks. So Cumbria CVS has established an employer-supported volunteering subgroup, which basically aims to bring businesses and the volunteer managers and third sector together to kind of have that platform, that informal networking space, so companies can kind of say and present to the groups around kind of what their employer-supported volunteering policies are, you know, if they've got any corporate social values, and kind of anything that they would like to kind of promote to different third sector organisations around volunteering, or if they want to kind of offer their staff to become volunteers. It's a platform where they can actually do that face-to-face with the actual third sector organisations as well. So it's a really informal group. It just meets 4 times a year, generally online. That CVS was helped to facilitate that connections between the employer and then the volunteer involved in organisations as well, really. So, you know, for example, like Volker, they came along to that meeting, WCF came along to that meeting, and you know they get that platform to be able to speak to the charities as well. So then behind it, obviously CVS is there to kind of basically try and make sure that the matching and the appropriate volunteering role is found as well, and to make sure the communication between, you know, the charity and employer happens, and it's a positive experience for the employer and it's a positive experience for the charity as well, really. And at CVS, we're always trying to kind of raise the profile of volunteers. You know, the recent one that we did, so you know, we go out and we meet the employees. We want to say thank you. It's so important to kind of show recognition and value for these employee volunteers that are giving up their time. Appreciate them how in the day-to-day lives and when working, it is busy. You know, people are multitasking all the time, but they chose to kind of give up, you know, a day or a morning out of their busy schedules, you know, to come down as well. So it's really important for CVS to kind of come out and say thank you and recognise them, and to kind of meet them and obviously tell them a little bit more about CVS, but also kind of create real good case studies so that we can then encourage more employers to get out there, to get their employees to think about volunteering. So whether that's one-to-one individual volunteering, or whether it's a team challenge, or whether it's getting the staff to think about kind of what skills have they got, you know, what can they be utilised in them to do, you know, could they be interesting? And sometimes companies or individuals themselves don't always know that, and that's why, you know, CVS try and support people one-to-one around volunteering. But then we also have things around volunteering fairs, or organise trustee recruitment information sessions, but also the network meetings as well, where we can bring volunteer managers and the businesses together to really kind of encourage that learning and that shared learning, so people can find out more about volunteering. They can find out about the role of the trustee and actually what does it actually entail, and then they can find out about employer-supported volunteering through these events and through these networks. And if anyone can't make those networks, and that's where my role comes into it, where I can offer that one-to-one support to employers, and to try and encourage, you know, them to kind of empower their staff to kind of start that thinking, and to encourage them to, you know, look at the new website, look at the volunteering portal, where there's so many different volunteering opportunities on there already, and every single day there's new charities registering as well. So please, you know, if you are an employer, or you are listening to this podcast, please do check out volunteering.cumbriacvs.org.uk and just have a search and have a look at the large range of different volunteering opportunities out there. You know, everything, you know, from like, you know, there's KDAS, there's annual charities, There's older people's charities, like Aged Care, charities such as like Youth Zone and Mind in Furnish, and there's such a range of different charities out there who all need, volunteers and to step forward and to make a difference to our communities within Cumbria.
There's so much there for businesses to get involved with. Judith, thanks so much for coming on the podcast today. That's been really interesting. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.